4. We're live. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Women Thrive Showcase today. We're really excited to have you here. This is Empowering the Voices of Women, our monthly showcase. We broadcast every single month to all of our social media followers on Women Thrive. So if you are jumping on and joining us, then please say hello in the comments, in the chat. We are so excited to have you here. So if this is your first time watching one of the Women Thrive events, then please come into the comments and introduce yourself, because we'd love to get to know you. We can't see you, but we can look at your comments, and we'd love to know whereabouts in the world you were joining us from, and any questions that you have for our speakers, aha moments as we are going through. So as I already said, this is our monthly event with Women Thrive, empowering the voices of women. And really, there's a few reasons that we decide to do this every month. First of all, we are incredibly proud of our amazing Women Thrive speakers that we have speaking at our summit every single year. So this is a fantastic opportunity to be able to showcase our speakers, to introduce them to you, for you to get to know them, and for you to be inspired by the stories, the incredible stories that so many of our women in our community get to tell and get to share on the stage, on the summit, and also on this event. And also, we want to bring a bit of joy and inspiration into your life. So whether you are running a business, whether you have founded a business, whether you're a CEO of a business, whether you are a speaker yourself, whether you're an author yourself, and you are looking for some inspiration and to meet some fabulous women, then this is the place to be. We want to bring some joy and inspiration into your life, into your business, and maybe an injection of, some new ideas and new concepts that maybe you haven't heard before. And this is why it's so important that we have platforms like this. So just to introduce myself, my name is Abigail Rebecca. I am normally the co-host of this event with the amazing Raimonda Jan, who is the founder and CEO of Women Thrive. Those of you who are in our community regularly might know that Raimonda is actually pregnant with her second baby, and she is due to give birth imminently. So we're waiting for the new addition to the Women Thrive family. Very, very excited. So we will keep you updated with that. But quite rightly so, Raimonda needs to take some time off to have a baby. Like, we all know how amazing she is at running her business, but she needs to take some time off. So we're giving her some rest, or she's taking some rest this morning, and then she's going to be coming on with me later on today to co-host our evening session today. So with that being said, I am very, very delighted to welcome on to the stage one of our former speakers who is coming to co-host with me today, Pia Out. Hi, Pia.
Hi, hello, how are you?
I'm so good. Pia, thank you so much for coming on and agreeing to come and co-host with me today. So just to introduce Pia, and we would love obviously for you to give a little introduction to yourself as well, but Pia was one of our speakers on this year's summit 2025 in March, and Pia also very kindly hosted a few of our sessions for us as well, because we run our summit from 9 a.m. UK time in the morning, very often until 6 p.m., 7 p.m. UK time in the evening. And even though myself and Raimonda are doing it and we're good to go, actually running an event like that for 5 days, we need to take a bit of time off. So Pia was just amazing with that. So welcome. It's wonderful to have you on board again.
Thank you. Thanks. It's great to be here. So honored you asked me.
Could you introduce yourself and
course.
just a bit about what you do?
Yes. So I work mostly as an empowerment coach and executive coach. I'm based in the south of Spain. originally from Denmark and have lived everywhere. Gosh, I was looking back at all the countries we've been in. The US, I studied and worked in the US. Then we moved back to Denmark, then to the UK for 5 years, and then to Dubai for 12 years. And now we're settled in Spain. And finally, all of us in the family are in the same continent. We were spread all over the world previously, but we are all in Europe, so that's good. And I spend most of my time, obviously, when I'm not with clients. I have a horse. She's very much part of my life and my business. So when I can bring her into the coaching sessions or leadership workshops, I do so. But yeah, other than that, we're sort of both semi-retired. She's I don't ask much of her. She's 20 years old, my beautiful lead mare, and we just go trail riding, go hacking out in the hills here in Spain. So it's a beautiful and very, I think, very privileged life I have now. I'm very, very grateful to be in a safe place and have what we have. So
Pia,
yeah.
we love you. We love what you do. I love that you work with horses in that way, and it is a beautiful part of the world to live in. So it's great to have you back. We're going to have some conversations later on. So the way that we are going to structure our event today is that we have some amazing speakers for you to introduce you to, who will be coming on and sharing their knowledge and expertise and their zone of genius, and hopefully, well, I know that they will inspire you as they speak. And that's going to be the first half of our showcase, because we're going to be running for 2 hours today. And then the second half, Pia and I are going to come and have a conversation. And we really want to invite you into this conversation. I think, now more than ever, regardless of how you're feeling about what's happening in the world, or what's happening in your business, or what's happening in your life. Very often life, our businesses, the world can throw us curveballs where it can kind of leave us kind of feeling maybe hopeless, or that you want to be able to do more, that you want to be able to change things. And I think at the moment, what's really important is that we are in communities, that we're in communities of like-minded people, that we support one another, that we empower one another, that we inspire one another. And when we were having this conversation, Pia, before, you were talking about your equine therapy and the way that horses do this, right? They gather together in community when they need that support.
Yeah. I mean, this is what we also illustrate to humans when we bring leaders or teams or individuals in. It's just their nature. They, when there's a situation or a crisis or any kind of threat to their herd, they convene, and they need that herd, togetherness for safety. And so that's obviously that's innate in them, but it's not so innate in humans. We tend to scatter and run around and go, we go into panic mode and go, oh, I don't know what to do, or what should we do? So it's so important to really surround yourself with support. And, whether that's a brotherhood or a sisterhood or a tribe or, community where you live, or even your family as a support system, it gives you that extra resilience to know that you're not going through this alone, right? This you don't have to. You can put your hand up and ask for help. Everybody is there to help you through this.
I love that, Pia. There's so much to learn, isn't there, from nature and from
Absolutely.
animals. And I'm really, really excited for our conversation later. So as you're watching, we invite you to stay on. We'd love for you to stay on with the full 2 hours. But for now, Pia, thank you so much for co-hosting with me.
You're welcome.
See you very soon. So I am looking at the comments. We have got some amazing women. You're joining us from the UK, just near me in Kent. That's amazing. Australia, South Africa, Hong Kong, Kenya. Oh my goodness. Please keep the comments coming. Please keep us informed as to where you are watching us. Any questions that you have for us, any aha moments, and we would very much love for you to be involved in this conversation around what we can do collectively to empower ourselves in business, in life, in this world. So I am very, very excited to welcome our first speaker, who is going to be kicking us off today. She is coming to us all the way from Australia. Her name is Louisa Hogan. She is a leadership resilience strategist, author, and founder. And she's a co-author of Whisper and Thread. So co-founder, sorry, I'm so sorry, Lou. Let me just start this again. I'm so sorry. I am not doing your introduction justice. Let me do it again. Okay, so this is Louisa Hogan. She's a leadership resilience strategy. She's an author. She's a founder of Vermalho Consulting. I really hope that I said that right. And she is a co-founder of Whisper and Thread. And please, you need to go and check this brand out, because I'm obsessed and we need to have it in the UK. That's all I'm saying. She's had so much experience within leadership positions, COO, CDO, CEO, and she's been a senior leader across multiple sectors. Louisa has spent her career guiding executives and entrepreneurs through complex change, which is very, very important at the moment, because I think we're, globally, we're going through a lot of change, whilst helping them build resistance and sustainable success. She delivers practical, science-based tools that help people steady themselves under pressure and lead with lasting strength. Louisa, it's so wonderful to see you here all the way from Australia. How are you?
I'm really well. Thank you, Abby. I'm very excited to be here.
Wonderful. Well, I'm going to go and put my teeth back in so that I can give people's bios justice. I'm going to remove myself from stage and you can take it from here, Lou.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Abby. It's lovely to be here. So I'm going to start by saying that I am always amazed, but never surprised when people think that enduring something difficult equals resilience. That resilience is a badge of honor for suffering through something difficult. And everywhere we go, we are told resilience is about being tough. We think pushing harder and carrying more while juggling family and proving we can handle all of the environments that we work in means we are resilient. And how many times have you heard, "I don't cry, I'm pretty resilient"? But that's exactly how strong leaders and founders and women burn out. Resilience isn't about capacity. It's about recovery and evolving and clarity. And it is something I'm extremely passionate about as a leadership resilience strategist. I've twice been a CEO under pressure. I've gone on to build and maintain 2 of my own businesses that Abby mentioned, and I've done that simultaneously. I've navigated early divorce and subsequently living in a house with no kitchen and no bathroom or no toilet for 3 months. And I know that sounds tragic, but it's actually hilarious because it involves me showering in a portable shower in my garden in front of my neighbors and walking around in my dressing gown outside. But I'll share that story another day. I've experienced finding love again, thankfully, and the bitter disappointment of IVF and the sleepless reality of motherhood. And I've led multiple teams around the globe in complex culture change projects and resilient leadership. And through all of this, I've learned that resilience isn't about grit. It's about knowing the things that enable you to stay steady, that you will not sacrifice no matter how heavy the pressure is. So this is where I want to introduce you to a very simple concept that I call red line resilience in leadership. The reason I call it red line is because it signals a stop point or a line that you do not cross. It's the boundary that says, this is where I stop and do this other thing that keeps me strong. Your red line is the non-negotiable that anchors you. It's what protects you from giving away the parts of yourself that matter the most. So here's a question for you. When the pressure ramps up for you, What do you do? Do you add more work hours? Do you increase your effort? When life speeds up, what's the first thing that you sacrifice? And what's the cost of you sacrificing that thing? So let me tell you a few stories of how the red line plays out. This year, I coached an executive who was drowning in meetings. Drowning is the best word. And I'm talking her entire schedule was blocked out, double booked, back-to-back meetings. So her red line became one protected block of strategic thinking every single morning. That one decision had turned her from a very reactive manager into a visionary leader. Her red line wasn't about working less. It was actually about working on the right things. A founder I know set her red line as this: never making big decisions back to back without a recovery window. So in the past, she'd go straight from 12-hour strategy sessions with her team into negotiating with partners and investors, and her judgment was very clouded by fatigue. So she made recovery non-negotiable, even if it was just a 20-minute reset between decisions. So can you guess what happened? Her decision-making sharpened. Her deals went better. Her team followed suit, and they didn't burn out anymore because, believe it or not, as a leader, you don't just set culture, you set resilience culture at work. Again, the red line wasn't about working less. It was about working smarter with resilience built into every choice. For me, my red line is that I never work while my daughter is home from school, and I never miss bedtime. No matter what project or pressure I'm feeling, it's one ritual that I protect fiercely. And it means being very creative with my schedule, but it also means that I stay connected to why I do what I do. So what do you see about yourself in each of those stories? What I know is that each person could fall into the trap of thinking that doing more was better for easing pressure, and that the ability to do more showed the world that they were really tough and resilient. But I've also learned from each of those red lines that the moment a leader claims that red line, they move from surviving to shaping, and the ripple effect is really, really powerful. That's why red line resilience isn't a nice to have, and it's definitely not about self-care. It's about leadership strategy and why I love doing what I do. So ask yourself, what's one red line you'd protect if everything in your world got busier tomorrow? That's the work that I do. I help leaders and women build clarity and strength and staying power that lasts. So please join me at the Women Thrive Summit. I'm so excited about being there. You can find me on social media at Whisper and Thread and Vermello Consulting. It said Vermello Abby, and LinkedIn, Louisa Hogan. I really look forward to connecting with you.
Thank you so much, Louisa. Thank you. I was just trying to unmute myself then. Thank you so much for sharing your brilliance and your point of view on working. It's so refreshing to hear from someone like you who has operated at a very high level of leadership in various organizations and your own businesses. It's so refreshing to hear from you around your concept of work. And this is something that aligns with so many things that I talk about as well. And that's why we're so aligned, because we do live in a world that celebrates hard work and hustle. There's definitely a hustle culture. But what you're saying is that actually what we are inclined to do is, if the pressure's on, we just work harder, because we think that that's going to release the stress, that's going to release the pressure. And actually what it does is it just adds on more pressure. But actually what we need to be doing is kind of stepping back and being more strategic. So working smarter, not harder.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's easy in principle. How have you managed that? So, in your leadership roles, like, to be able to apply that into the real world, it can often be difficult, right? How do you approach that personally?
I think for me, it's about understanding your priorities. And I think what people often make the mistake of doing is that everything on their priority list is much more important than prioritizing the things that help refresh you and help you bounce back and help you, develop some strength through the pressure that you're going through. So it's it's about saying to yourself, no, this isn't a nice to have. It's about being a non-negotiable thing that I have to do. That becomes part of your priority list. So then, I mean, you wouldn't, if you knew something was a priority for you on your priority list for business, or, getting a deadline for writing your book, or, in a meeting, or developing a strategy at work, you put that on the top of your priority list. And I encourage everybody, because this is what I do, just to flip your thinking and say, this is a priority. Putting myself first in this area to maintain my resilience and my sanity is a priority. It's not a nice to have. And the minute you switch your thinking about that and you put it on your priority list, it's something that you just start to fit into your day, because it's not something that you, just drop off because now I'm too busy and I've got all these other things, so I'll do that tomorrow, So that's what's worked for me, and works well for my clients too.
Yes, it's quite funny, isn't it? Like that narrative, like, oh, I'm too busy to rest.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Too busy to put myself first. And of course, I'm thinking when you're talking that it's not just, I would expect that it's not just about being able to change your concept and like flip the script on it and be like, okay, this is really important for me to take time out to rest, to work on my business as opposed to in my business, and take that strategic role. But also it's about educating people around you as well. And this is one thing that I've found I need to, within my business and actually within my life, I also need to educate people around me to be like, you know what? If you let me go and take a nap in the afternoon, I'm going to be even more productive.
100%. Yeah. And it's funny how we do have this hustle culture. So, particularly at work, people will judge you if you, take time off to do something that, boosts your resilience, or, helps your mind and body rest, because we have a culture that rewards busyness, and we don't actually have a culture that rewards people for prioritizing things that helps keep their resilience up. It's a really strange hustle culture that we have. And I think if you as a leader can start building the culture within your teams that we reward people for having that red line, for having the non-negotiables, if it's, and it doesn't always have to be time off or rest or anything like that. It's the things that build people up. And if we reward that culture in our teams and with the people around us, then you won't also feel guilty about doing it for yourself, because there's that guilt thing. If I do this, people are going to think that I'm not working hard enough. And then we reward people who work really hard and long hours, and that just perpetuates the problem. So if you are a leader and you are in those strategic levels, start thinking about how you can reward your team and yourself for doing the things that builds and maintains resilience, as well as modeling that for everybody and explaining why you do it, because it just gives everybody else the collective permission. It's like a collective sigh, like, we can do that. I didn't realize we could do that. We can. So it's something really important to do if you're in a leadership space.
I really love that. I really, really love that. And it's a whole culture change, isn't it? And we know that with a culture change, it needs to come from the top. And it's all very well paying lip service to it. I've worked in organizations before where, the boxes are being ticked, right? The words are being said, but then actually it's not then being demonstrated and led from the top. So it just it then just becomes another like memo that's sent out, another email, another thing, to kind of say that we're doing, but we're not actually embodying it and implementing it. Virginia is watching us from LinkedIn. Hi, Virginia. She says she loves the concept of the red line. What I'm endeavoring to project is being present in where I need to be, taking time to precede my feelings and not going into my default position of action. And it is, I mean, this is about like changing habits and changing the culture of yourself, because this is one of the things that I teach. And even I find myself, from years and years of corporate and just being raised in this world where hard work is a badge of honor. It's so easy to go into it. And I felt the last couple of days, actually, I've kind of slipped into this back-to-back meeting thing without even resting. And it's so easy to go into that, isn't it? So what's like I know you were talking about planning, but what's your go-to? If you feel like, oh, I'm slipping into this, what is it? What is something that we could do to kind of just bring ourselves and jumpstart ourselves to come out of it and back out of it before we go too far into the back-to-back meeting zone?
Yeah, I think awareness is key. And you know me, Abby, I'm a big supporter of self-talk. So I think the main thing is, if you pick yourself up and you find yourself in that, when you're trying to develop a habit, you will slip back into old habits, and then you creep back, and then it's a push and pull. Slowly over time, it becomes a habit. But the most important thing is that you don't start berating yourself every time you find yourself slipping back, and not having that negative self-talk, because that's only going to make this feel like a chore. And so to me, I don't have a go-to that's going to flick you back into it every single time. It's a habit that you have to develop. You can do that by creating checklists or having reminders up on your desk. I put Post-it notes up on my desk until something becomes a habit. If you see my desk, there's lots of colors on it. But, I think the key to making it a habit that's sustainable is to forgive yourself when you step back and make a mistake, and then just bring yourself back in, and you keep trying, because tomorrow's another day, and you can just, keep pursuing that goal.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming and sharing your wisdom and
you.
your wonderful work. Where can people find you? Let's all follow Louisa. And where do you hang out on social media? What's your websites? Like, where can we hang out with you?
So you can find me mostly on LinkedIn, Louisa Hogan. You can find me there and connect with me there. I have my business, Whisper and Thread, is, you'll see my face on Whisper and Thread, but I'm not talking very much about resilience on Whisper and Thread. We talk a lot about self-talk. It's a brand about changing negative self-talk. So if you're interested in that, follow me at Whisper and Thread and have a look at what our business does to improve your self-talk. You may be very surprised when you get there what we're doing to improve self-talk. And you can find me on Instagram under _consulting. It's a brand new Instagram page. So I put it up 2 weeks ago. So I'd love more followers. Follow me there. I post similar content on there now that I do on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I'll often post video snippets or information there. So depending on the content you're after, you can find me there. And Whisper and Thread and Vermelho are also on Facebook, so you can have a look. And Vermelho is spelled Vermelho. I'm Portuguese. Vermelho is the color red, and it's a color about passion, and I'm very passionate about what I do.
Thank you so much, Lou, and thank you for kicking off our showcase today.
Wonderful being here. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your showcase.
That was the wonderful Louisa Hogan. One of the things that I would love to invite you to do is to go follow our speakers. So our speakers are going to be sharing with you their social media. Go follow them. And why not reach out and send them a message and just let them know what you enjoyed about their talk. If there were any aha moments, if you have any questions, our speakers will really, really appreciate that. Our speakers come from lots of different backgrounds and experiences when it comes to speaking, and some of our speakers are very seasoned speakers, some are just starting out, and I can tell you something, that when you put yourself on a stage like this and you continue to show up and be in service to others, it absolutely means the world when you can receive a comment or a like or a message. So please keep them coming. It's wonderful to see your comments as well in the chat, so please keep them coming. We've got Ramonda Jan, who is the founder of Women Thrive, and our wonderful CEO who is watching as well. So it's wonderful to have you here, Ramonda. And there are a few things that you can do as well to be involved in our community. And one of the things that I wanted to introduce you to, if you haven't been introduced to it yet, is the Women Thrive magazine. So we have a monthly publication of our magazine. I have to say, and I've been on the cover a few times. I've been on the cover myself. I've been on the cover with Ramonda. I've been on the cover in a wonderful group photo that was taken in Miami at an in-person event that we have in Miami. And I have to say that so far, this is my favorite cover because I just love the colors in it. So this is Angelina Badri, who is one of our speakers on our summit next year. She's part of this wonderful community. I'm sure that she will be coming on hopefully next month to be able to share her expertise with you on the showcase. But go and check out Women Thrive on the website. So it's womenthrivemagazine.com. And you will be able to have access to the digital version of this. You'll be able to read all about Angelina and be able to see our wonderful articles from women all around the globe who are sharing their expertise, their zone of genius, and their wonderful, wonderful stories. And you can also when you go onto that website, you can also subscribe. So like me, every month you can have a little ring on the doorbell and it will be the delivery man asking you to sign for this magazine. And it's always one of my favorite parts of the month. We have got a very, very special lady who is going to be appearing on the front cover of the magazine for our October edition as well. So we can't wait to share that with you. Okay, so let me know in the comments how you are finding. If you have any questions for our speakers. Oh, and Ramonda's just also mentioned as well that we have Louisa in the next issue. So we're really excited to see your article. And also we have our next speaker as well, who I'm going to introduce in a minute, who is also in the next issue of our magazine. So I am very excited to introduce our next speaker onto the stage. Her name is Annette Williams. She is the founder of Silverbrook hypnotherapy, where she specializes in helping professional women get the credit they deserve by unblocking their confidence to stand up and speak out. Annette believes that everyone is entitled to live a life they love without limitations, and that boosting your self-belief can be truly transformational. Annette's unique approach blends creative industry experience with bespoke therapeutic techniques, including hypnosis, to address issues like performance anxiety, public speaking fears, social anxiety, and phobias. So let me just see. There she is. Hi,
hello.
Welcome. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm actually in this current magazine. If you flick through to page 17, 3-page spread, there you go, you'll find me.
Hang on. There she is, of course, with your dog.
Yes, who is actually asleep on my desk at the moment. So if anybody hears any snoring, I pray to God that she will stay quiet throughout. But Muffin is asleep right there.
Hey, listen, Annette, we are dog friendly, we are child friendly, we are cat friendly. If she wants to come on, she can come on.
She might.
Annette, where are you joining us from today? We've just been in Australia. Where are you?
Well, I'm the other side of the world. I'm in Cheshire in the UK.
Wonderful. Well, welcome to the stage. It's wonderful to see you here, and please take it away.
Great. Thank you very much. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Now, as usual, I would like to start off with some good news. Because last week I was on holiday with my daughter Chelsea in Porto. And if you haven't been, I highly recommend it as a city break. But however, that's not the good news I'm referring to. The good news is that just before we went away, I found out that I'd been nominated for an award. Now, this is very exciting news. And I'm proud to announce that Silverbrook Hypnotherapy has been shortlisted in the Cheshire Creme de la Creme Awards for the best small business. Now, this is my first nomination as a hypnotherapy business owner, and crucially, the first time that I've been nominated individually. But this got me thinking about how we measure success. Now, in a previous career, I was a TV producer for 38 years. And during that time, I was lucky enough to win quite a few awards, including a couple of these. The BAFTAs for comedy and factual entertainment. They really are incredibly heavy. Now, it's great to win awards like these, and they're often seen as the pinnacle of success because they're physical things that you can have on display to prove that you're good at something. A bit like really heavy stamps of approval. And all of my bios proudly state that I'm a multi-award winner. If you look behind me, on the wall there, that's a triple platinum disc, another physical symbol of success, this time from the music world. In case you're wondering, it's for Avril Lavigne. To be honest, I have no idea how it's ended up on my wall. Now, don't get me wrong, winning awards like these were some of the highlights of my career. But I'm very aware that there are so many variables involved. Yes, creative talent is as a given, but you also need a sprinkling of good luck. Because to win an award like a BAFTA, everything needs to line up. It needs to be the right idea, made by the right team, at the right time, for the right audience, and judged by the right people, and in the mix with the right competition. Now, some of these factors you can control, whereas others you absolutely can't. But of course, to be nominated is still a big achievement because it means you've been recognised. So if you have won, or even just been nominated for an award, then congratulations. However, I know that there are so many fields where people are doing truly exceptional work, but who will never be recognised with the sparkly trophy. So today, I would like to celebrate you, because you are the right person, doing the right work for the right people at the right time. And your brilliance, your skills, your expertise, your hard work, and your heart are all deeply appreciated. Which brings you back to how do we measure success? And personally, I think a more reliable measure is to consider what people are saying about you. Because if you think about it, most of us don't make decisions based on what we see in someone's trophy cabinet. No, we check Google reviews, we ask for recommendations, we trust the personal stories. And the good news is that that part is in your control. But it starts with believing in yourself and the value that you deliver. Feeling confident in who you are and what you have to offer. And then make sure you keep honing your experience, learning new skills, finessing and growing. Now, I've worked with many clients who have been held back by fear and self-doubt. Clients who are paralyzed by the fear of failure and were too scared to even try. And clients who couldn't find their voice or sometimes didn't feel worthy of using it. And if any of that sounds familiar to you, let me reassure you that these are not permanent barriers. They are challenges you can overcome. You can quash the fear and you can find your voice and you can let your full potential flourish. Because success isn't just about trophies. The true measure of success is living and loving the life you want. So hold on to that and always celebrate your wins, no matter how big or how small. Believe in your value and keep showing up. Because awards like these are nice to have. But what's in here is must have. Now, of course, I'll be telling everyone if I win, but I know that awards don't define who I am or the work that I do. Because I'm Annette Williams and I'm the confidence hypnotherapist. Thanks for listening. And if you'd like to connect with me, then that would be great. The best places are on LinkedIn. I'm Annette Williams Silverbrook or Silverbrook_hypnotherapy on Instagram. Thank you and good luck.
Annette, thank you so much. What a great talk. I loved it so much. How exciting. I know everything that you've just shared now is so true, but also I just wanted to say congratulations. You're getting loads of congratulations.
Thank you.
In the comments. I just wanted to bring those on screen so you could see them. I mean, huge congratulations. What is it, do you think? Because I have this conversation quite a lot, actually, why is it, do you think, that we are so reluctant to celebrate our achievements and celebrate success? Because it feels, I don't know if you feel from this point of view as well, like I know that we're a global community, but I don't know, is it something that's quite English as well, like something that's quite British? Like what is it, do you think, that really, why we can often be very reluctant to be able to celebrate our own success and share it with others?
I mean, I think that there may be an element that's true, that it is a British thing, but I'm well aware that in Australia they have this thing called tall poppy syndrome, where people are afraid to stand out. But I think sometimes it's due to the fact that people may believe it's a one-off, it's a fluke. And if they went and celebrated and made a big deal about what they're doing, then actually they don't believe that's ever going to happen again, and they didn't deserve it, and so they don't want to celebrate something to then not be able to replicate that. But I think it's habit. It's what we're encouraged to do from a young age, and it's the support that we get, and if people are struggle to kind of to celebrate their successes, it's because jealousy. They don't want, there's a mix of things, but the important thing is that celebrating somebody else's success doesn't take away from yours, and success breeds success. So if you could shift the culture so that successes are celebrated more, then you'll find that often encourages more people to push themselves further out of their comfort zone and take more challenges and push themselves and grow as a result, and therefore generate their own successes. So it depends the environment that you're in and the response that you get from others. I always say that you should surround yourself with radiators, not drains, and you find that radiators generate that good feeling back to you, and you feel more supported and more safe to celebrate your successes. But realize life is full of ups and downs, so it may be successful 1 minute, but you may find yourself it's a lower, in a lower trough. But the important thing is when they happen, is to really celebrate them.
It's interesting, isn't it, this concept of, or this feeling of, well, I don't want to jinx things. I don't want to, share it just in case it doesn't happen again. And, it reminds me of how so many of us have been brought up. Well, I wasn't brought up to celebrate birthdays, but actually, like blowing out the candles on a birthday cake and make a wish, but don't tell anyone. It's almost like, don't share your dreams, don't share your vision, don't share it with anyone, just in case it doesn't come true. So it's almost like we've been preconditioned since childhood, with the birthday cakes, for example, to keep things to ourselves and not share it. But I love the fact that you're talking about like being communities, and obviously it comes back again to community, to being communities where we celebrate one another, where you can share these things, and we can all celebrate together.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it's really important to identify what your goals are. What are your dreams? Because you don't know what you're working towards otherwise. And sometimes having something tangible that you're focused on, it can be a small step, something you want to achieve, but that's how you build confidence in your ability to grow. You set your mind at achieving a certain goal and you focus on it. That helps it happen. And then once you've achieved it, you've got that as a resilient step to then build up from that point on. So it is important to identify what it is that makes you happy, what it is that gives you that need, fulfills that need within you to do whatever it is that you do. And so a lot of work that I do is identifying that, because a lot of people fall into careers or they fall into doing things, and they never really take the time to question, is this what I want to do? And when you can identify what it is that you want to do and realize how much that excites you, then it's so much easier to achieve, because your pathway is clearer. It's a decision that you've made. You haven't just responded to circumstances. And identifying those goals and challenging yourself. Have longer term goals or really ambitious goals and dreams, because that's how we keep moving forward.
Wonderful. Well, we want to celebrate your success.
Well, I haven't won it yet, but I am delighted. It's because to be, teamwork. I've worked with teams all my life, and that strength and support you get from other people is incredibly important. But yeah, I've never been singled out before, and that feels a very different experience. So I'm just delighted to be nominated and recognised for what I'm doing now in this new career. And I'll obviously let everybody know one way or the other. But I'm delighted.
Yeah, we're looking forward to celebrating with you. It's like you say, very often the recognition and the value that is attached to that nomination, not just the physical award, but the very act of being recognized is just something really, really amazing to be celebrated. So congratulations, Annette. And I know there's 2 of those that you held up there.
Yeah.
You hold up your award. Can we see them, please?
Oh, they are really, really heavy. People, when you see them on the award show, they go, "Oh, surely they can't be that heavy." Trust me, these weigh, they're marble bases, and God knows what the mask is made of. But they make fabulous bookends.
That is amazing. So for anyone watching that doesn't know what they are, please can you just explain what those iconic awards are?
This is a BAFTA award, which is the British Film and Television Award. So it's the British equivalent of the Oscars. So very proud to they're each individually numbered. If you lose one of these, you can't get a replacement. So they're lovely stamps of approval for what was a 38-year career. So proud of those.
Absolutely fantastic. Annette, where can we find you? Where do you hang out? Social media? Where can we follow you?
Yeah, LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, Annette Williams Silverbrook. Instagram, like Louisa. I'm that's a relatively new site that I'm working on, but I'm trying to build up some followers there. So that would be great. So that's Silverbrook_hypnotherapy. Or if you want to find out any more about what I do and the type of work that I do, or a bit more about me, then my website, which is silverbrookhypnotherapy.co.uk, is a really good starting point.
Fantastic. Annette, thank you so much for sharing your wonderful wisdom, and we are celebrating with you every step of the way, and we're also celebrating that you're going to be a speaker, that you are a speaker on our Women Thrive stage next year. So thank you so much for accepting the invitation to do that, and we are very much looking forward to the journey ahead with you.
My pleasure. Looking forward to it too. And my dog stayed asleep, which is, I take that as a win.
Thanks, Annette. Okay, so 2 of our fabulous speakers. If you are feeling inspired, then make your way over to the Women Thrive website. You can go and check out all of our speakers that are going to be speaking on our summit next year, March 2026. We always run our speaker summit the 3rd week in March. It's very significant because it's just a couple of weeks after International Women's Day. So you can go ahead and there will be lots of details on there. And please keep your eyes peeled, because you will be able to put your name down to come and attend the event and watch our wonderful speakers very, very soon. So, and if you're not already on our mailing list to be able to receive those notifications, then you can do that over on our website as well, and we can keep you updated. Another thing that we are celebrating, talking about celebration, is that we have just launched our season 5 of our Women Thrive podcast. We are recording our episodes now as we speak. We are having wonderful conversations with many of our speakers, and also women from the wider community. So again, if you want to feel inspired, if you want to bring some light into this life, and you want some tangible steps to take away to be able to support you in your business and your life, then definitely I would recommend that you go and check out the Women Thrive podcast, which is available on all podcast streaming services. Myself and Ramonda are co-hosting that this season, and we are very proud that we are currently 5% globally. So So if you are enjoying our podcast, then please go ahead and give your feedback and follow us, because let's celebrate getting into top 2%, which I'm sure that we will do very, very soon. So I would love to invite my co-host onto the stage. Oh, there she is, Pia. Hi, Pia.
Hello again.
Hello. How have you been enjoying our talks, our speakers so far?
Some very, very powerful talks right out of the gate. Honestly, I took some notes because a lot of what both Louisa and Annette spoke about really resonated, not only for me as a person, but also, the business that I'm in. And I took some note around Louisa speaking to resilience and the notion of giving yourself permission to not always be perfect, not always get it right, right? And that sort of made my ears perk up, because I sit with a lot of women who also, including myself, coming up from a conditioning of a mother with, we have to be perfect, we have to wear a perfect mask. She was always into dressing nice, putting makeup on, teasing her hair in the 60s, early 70s, a can of Elnet hairspray. I'm sure a lot of you can, I'm aging myself, but you can you can kind of resonate with that growing up and having those not only cigarette smoke, but also hairspray fumes coming at you. But it was very much an era of, oh, everything has to be perfect. And then Annette spoke to that conditioning that, we shouldn't stand out. And having grown up in Scandinavia, in Denmark, we have similar laws. You mentioned about Australia. It's not a law, but it's an unwritten sort of rule-based writings that you shouldn't think that you're more than anybody else. Don't think that you know more than me or that you're better than me. And that unwritten, it's called Jente's Law. It's throughout Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. And we just grow, it like seeps into our genes somehow. And it also prevents us from really enjoying our successes, because you can't share it. You shouldn't, because people will be envious and jealous. So having to overcome that in your professional life, well, in life in general, but also, when you have success at work, that you can't speak about it, you can't celebrate it because of what, how you grew up. That's a real limitation on a lot of us.
Yeah, I agree. It's very much part of the culture, I think, in a lot of societies. I'm just thinking about, growing up. I can really resonate with the Elnet hairspray, by the way. I had a fringe that I used to back comb to death.
Yeah.
You can imagine what that looked like.
I know.
But just, this hierarchical structures that we've been brought up in, that we've been raised in, that, thankfully are starting to dissolve more. We're starting to look more into, sharing and collaboration and community. But these hierarchical structures, where I'm better than you. I always use this example. There was a comedy sketch on one of the old shows in the UK that was talking about the social system, like within the UK, so like the working class, like middle class and higher class. And it was like, well, I'm, the person in the middle was like, well, I'm middle class, so I look down on you, but I look up to you, and I'm lower class, so I just look up to everyone. And it doesn't serve us. It doesn't serve us. It puts us into boxes. It's real fear and scarcity. And I think it's a big deconditioning journey that we are all going through in order to create that success, to feel good enough, to be able to go out into the world and speak on stages like this, or guide other people through it, breaking through that imposter syndrome. And I'm so grateful for communities like this that we're a part of, where we're able to decondition in a really nice environment, like a supportive environment. Because as you know, Pia, from being a speaker on our stage this year and being on that whole year journey with us, we celebrate success at Women Thrive. You know, it's part of the culture that Ramonda has founded as the founder and CEO of Women Thrive, you know, about celebrating one another, seeing the highest in one another and sharing that. And yeah, it just comes back to those communities, right? How important it is to be in these supportive communities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's about, you know, safety, having the same safe space, that safe space being held, you know, like a sacred container where we can share everything, and lifting each other up, like you said, supporting each other and lifting each other up. There were times, and the new speakers will go through this, where we're put into smaller groups, and it's a real opportunity to get very close, and we share a lot of things in those pods. We are still, you know, since March, we still keep our pod intact. We have monthly meetings or monthly, you know, calls. And it's so important to keep that connection, because when we have a bad day, we know where we can go, right? We've got our sisters, and we know so much about each other's lives and work and family situations, that it just takes a WhatsApp going, hey, you know, I had this happen, and everybody chimes in, you know, everybody's there going, I'm with you in this. I hear you. You're not alone. So very important to have that. And I think the new speakers coming in for this year, you know, for 2026 and for the whole year they're going through, they're going to experience that same closeness and sacred containers where they can share things.
Oh, it makes my heart sing to know that you're still having those calls together. It's like
we do.
One of the biggest bits of feedback that we have, you know, about the Thrive Pod. So we on this whole journey with our Women Thrive speakers, there's the wider community, and we'll be doing it pretty soon with our current speakers. We create these Thrive Pods, which is like smaller groups of 4 to 6 women to, you know, build deeper connections with one another, set up calls together, promote one another, hire one another, you know, pitch as events. At Women Thrive, we're very big on collaboration, and again, this is something that is very much part of the culture at Women Thrive, coming from Ramonda Jan's values, you know, as the founder, around collaboration. And yeah, it's just like one of the biggest feedbacks, like we're still in contact and we still have the calls, and it's just amazing to hear, Pia. Fantastic.
It's heartwarming, and it speaks to the communities we talked about. You mentioned earlier, you know, if you think you don't have a community, look around you, because you'll have your family, but then you'll have co-workers, or you'll have other parents from your kids' school, or, you know, there's not a single person out there that isn't going through what you're going through. So, you know, yes, does it require you to open up a bit and be vulnerable? Absolutely. But then nothing happens if you don't step outside your comfort zone, right? So yeah, others are there.
Pia, I'm so glad you're co-hosting this with me today and just bringing your insights. I'm very much looking forward to having a conversation around this and inviting our viewers also into this conversation in the chat. But for now, we have some amazing speakers. So I'm going to hand over to you, my beautiful co-host, to take the reins.
Yeah, I'm so excited about our next speaker, Jennifer McLean. She is, like me, certified life and leadership coach, so that really resonates. And she's also founder of Mission Inspire LLC, and she has over 2 decades of experience in nonprofit leadership and organizational development. She equips women and mission-driven professionals to lead with clarity and confidence. Her work centers on growth, resilience, and impactful value-based leadership. Let's welcome Jennifer to our speaker showcase. Hello, Jennifer. How are you?
Hello, Pia. I'm doing well.
Good. Where are you dialing from?
I am in the U.S. where
I
the
detected the
sun
U.S. accent. Which state? Where
where the
from?
sun hasn't even peaked yet. It's really
Yeah.
early. It's really early.
What's
And
your location?
I am in Chicago, Illinois. So the
Oh
Windy
my
City.
goodness.
The Windy City.
My husband is from Kankakee and I
Oh,
went to SIU, so this is
oh,
really close.
all
There, the
right. All
universe is
right.
converging that I'm introducing you because, yeah, lived in Chicago for 17 years and my kids are both born there. So,
Oh, okay, great.
yeah. So, I'm not going to hold you back any further. Jump right into your talk. We'd love to hear what you're all about.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. It may be early where I am, but I can't think of a better way to start the day than with this incredible community of women's voices. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought, I'm not ready, I need more time, more preparation, more confidence before I step up? I've been there too. For a long time, I thought confidence had to come first. But here's the truth. Confidence doesn't come first, courage does. Take even a small, courageous step, and confidence will follow. I'm Jennifer D. McClain, social impact leader and founder of Mission Inspire, where I coach, train, and support women, nonprofit professionals, and faith based leaders to define their purpose, lead with confidence, and flourish in every season of life. I'll be honest, stepping into my own visibility didn't always come easy. This is the June issue of the Women Thrive magazine. Abigail mentioned it. An article that I wrote is in here. But getting to the point where I could share my words publicly like this took a lot of courage before it built my confidence. Courage isn't about not being afraid. It's saying, I may be nervous, I may feel imperfect, but I'm showing up anyway. Sometimes courage looks like launching a business or taking the stage. Other times, it's simply raising your hand in a meeting, sharing your story with one person, or even saying out loud, I'm ready to try. I want us to try something together. Take a deep breath, lift your hands, and say this out loud with me. I'm ready to try. So 1, 2, 3. I'm ready to try. One more time. I'm ready to try. Feel that energy? That's courage in action. That's confidence starting to grow. That's what happens when we show up imperfectly, but intentionally. Here's what I've learned. Courage doesn't have to be a giant leap. It grows in tiny steps, micro moments where you stretch just a little beyond your comfort zone. For me, it started with small things. So sending that one email to a potential client while my heart was racing, sharing a personal story in a workshop, or posting a thought on social media that felt vulnerable. Each time I remind myself, progress over perfection. In my work with women leaders, I see this again and again. Action builds confidence. Messy starts are still starts. Small steps matter more than waiting for the perfect moment. Here's something I want you to consider. Life doesn't always move in a straight line, and neither does confidence. There are days when we feel unstoppable, and then there are days when doubt creeps in. Think about summer for a moment. Routines change, calendars get busy, and suddenly your momentum feels off. That's normal. Remember that confidence grows in alignment with your actions, not in perfect conditions. Every small choice counts. Saying no to something that drains your energy, waking up 15 minutes early to focus on your goal, speaking up in a meeting even when your voice shakes, Those may seem like tiny things, but they are acts of courage. And each one builds confidence step by step. Every act of courage, no matter how small, creates a ripple effect. It gives you momentum and it gives others permission to step forward too. So as you move through today, reflect on this. What is one small act of courage you can take today, not tomorrow, to grow your confidence? Your voice, your story, your gifts, they're needed, not later, now. When you lead with courage, we don't just change our lives, we make space for others to rise with us. If this message resonated with you, I love to stay connected. You can find me on my blog, Flourishing Fiercely, at flourishingfiercely.com, where I share stories, lessons, and tools to help you keep moving forward with confidence and courage. Thank you for listening and have a great day.
Ooh, wow, Jennifer, that was so powerful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Tell me more. I picked up messy starts are still starts. Tell me more about that.
I think sometimes, and I'm included in this, sometimes we think we need to have it all together before we start something or we try something new. And sometimes we need to just get started because you can learn in the messiness. You know, for me, I try to think about not what went wrong, what can I learn? How can I grow? And so I think it's important that we, messy starts are still a start. We just need to move.
Yeah, it's that courage, I think, to be able to try something that you haven't done before. And even if you've done it before, but you're still very unsure of how others are going to think about you, it's that self-judgment. It's that expectation that, oh, they're not going to like my hair, or they're not going to like my topic, or they're going to think that I'm crazy for having this opinion. It really could be anything that stands in the way, couldn't it? So
Yes.
what are your experience with, you mentioned some of your female clients and leaders. What do you think is the one thing that you see that gets in their way? And it's probably themselves, but
I was going to tell you, it's themselves.
I know we always
It is
sabotage
themselves.
ourselves. Yeah. But what
It
else
is.
are you seeing? What is a pattern of?
I would say comparison sometimes holds people back, like comparing themselves to other people's journey. And that's something that I've had to deal with. And one of the things I remind myself is my journey is my journey. Nobody else can take away from my journey. And so comparison is something that holds people back. And then fear of making mistakes, I don't think it's that people want to be perfect. I think it's that, people want to get it right. And so, sometimes fear holds you back from even starting. And so those are some of the things that I see.
I loved how you reframed that it's not our yearning or our desire to always be perfect and get it right. It's that the thoughts of, well, if I don't get it right, or if it isn't perfect, it's not worth sharing, right? Because I mentioned earlier to Abigail, I grew up with a perfect mom. Well, of course she wasn't perfect, and I've had female leaders that appeared perfect and confident, but of course they aren't. When you look behind the facade, take off their masks, there's so much insecurity and just wanting to be understood and accepted.
Definitely agree. And I think about that in my own leadership journey. I have a colleague that sometimes she'll say, I watch you and I see, like, if you don't know the answer to a question, you don't make up an answer. You say, I'll get back to you on that, or you pause and you think about it. And I was like, well, I wasn't always like that. This is something that you learn over time. And so, at the stage of where I am now, I'll be 50 next year. I'm just like, I've learned a lot. And so I am walking in a different way than I walked, say, when I first started my career.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it funny how the older we get, the more well, obviously the more we've got stored away that we've got experience on, but we also really start to care less, like not giving a hoot about what others say or think, But why couldn't we be that in the 20s and 30s where we were trying to climb the ladder?
Yeah, I will tell you, I know a lot of people we're around the same age, so people are going into their 50s, and people are like, that is the thing that people keep telling me. When you get over 50, you like, I really, like, you start to think it in your 40s, but once you get over that 50 hump, you like, I don't care. I'm just keep it moving.
Yeah, and I can share with you, and I'm not embarrassed about it, but I've made it into the 60 club, and I really am not giving a hoot. Like I can't waste energy and time on thinking about what others are going to think about me. I'm going to live my life because I don't know how much is left still, And I think, I don't know about you and your coaching, but that's what I take into my coaching. I think that I can share something with, women who have been in a corporate career or in so much of their life. We bring that with us and share that back with them to support them. So yeah. Jennifer, how can people get a hold of you? How can they connect with you and learn more?
So I'm on LinkedIn, Jennifer D. McClain. My website, Mission Inspire, that's Inspire with an E. And also, I am starting to post more on Pinterest. If you search for Mission Inspire, you'll find me on Pinterest as well. And so, and obviously my blog, that's where I'm at the most. That's where I post the most, flourishingfiercely.com.
Okay. And just on that, I love how you said earlier that you weren't comfortable yet with writing that article. I can't wait to see more articles from you. It's so liberating when you get over that hump and go, oh, I've got something to write about and I got something to say, So thank you so much for your talk. No, you're welcome. It's great to have you on here and you're so inspiring. I'd love for Abigail to come back. I don't know if she's got any questions for you as well. But wow, what a talk. I'm really like re-energized.
Jennifer, I've just brought you on. Sorry, I removed you. I've just brought you on. Yeah, it's amazing. We've got some really great comments, and I love how you're speaking about, we can often put so much on ourselves to be perfect, to show up in a certain way, but actually, if you think about it in business, I always say, like, people buy people, and I think people often ask me, like, what's the one piece of advice that you would give to, like, be a great speaker? And I always say, like, take yourself off the pedestal, because people, if I'm looking at someone to inspire me, I want to see the similarities. I cannot connect with a perfect person. I just can't. Like, I don't see the connections. I don't see the commonalities. But if you come and you share and you take yourself off that pedestal and you really share what's going on and connect at a human level, that just tops any perfect thing, right? Any perfect talk, any perfect article, because people can feel it, and people can connect it, and then you can make a bigger difference in the world because you're connecting with people at a human level. So, Jennifer, I just want to honor you getting up super early. Can we just say, Jennifer is based in Chicago. What time is it there now, Jennifer?
It is 4:13 a.m.
It is 4:13 a.m. So we always say to our speakers, show up, take advantage of all the opportunities, come onto the podcast, write magazine articles, come onto this showcase. This has all been created to be able for you to come and be visible and share yourself and show yourself. And Jennifer, can I just say, you are leading the way. So thank you. We really appreciate you getting up and making time and showing up and, doing all the things that I know need to be done to get up so early. And thank you so much for sharing your brilliance at your time in the morning.
I appreciate you all having me. I'm glad that my talk resonated with people, and I told you, Abby, yeah, I'm gonna take any opportunity I can so that I can grow my speaker voice.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Jennifer, and have the rest of your day. It's going to be a very long day now for you.
Thank you.
So much. Thank you. So that was Jennifer McLean. Go check her out. And Pia, it's interesting because we always say, and I'd love your thoughts on this as well as one of our speakers from this year. We always say, like, the speakers that show up the most, the speakers that come onto the calls, the speakers that come onto the showcases, the speakers that take the time to be able to connect with their fellow speakers are the speakers that are the most successful. Because the success comes with the collaboration, with the connection from the community, but also it means that when it comes to promoting the event, because if you're going to speak on a stage, part of that process is promoting the event, promoting yourself, promoting your business, promoting one another. And that's when the relationships come into play. And there's so many things I remember from you and you being a speaker, but you were on the calls, like you showed up, you're on the calls, you're on the showcases, you showed up in the wider community, you showed up in the Thrive Pods. And it's so important, isn't it, to be able to build those connections with one another. And obviously you've already mentioned that far outlasts the summit. What are your thoughts on that and take on that?
I mean, obviously you get out of this what you put in. So if you just sit on the sidelines and you've made an investment in yourself and you're not showing up or taking advantage of the coaching and the mentorship that is involved, because this is a year-long journey. And I mean, I'm sure everybody had the same. I don't know. I'm sort of speaking, I think, on the other 50 speakers' behalf. But for me, I can tell you the milestones that I got, the little hurdle. It was like a steeplechase, right? We're running, getting better, getting our stride. And then, oops, there's the up again, and then down and then on again. I felt the growing points of when I learned something new, I put it into practice and it paid off. So you can almost map your whole year in terms of where you're getting the paybacks or the returns on things that you've invested in and showed up for. And in the beginning, I showed up for both the AM and the PM. That I have to admit, the PMs was a little bit, challenging towards the latter part of the journey. But it was also fun because being with Europeans and Australians was great. But then when you go on the PM call, for me, that was the American side. And there were so many speakers from the US and Canada. Really, I learned so much and connected and are still connected with. And I was able to go on podcasts with, US people. I was able to do a TV show. Just lots of really interesting things that I would have never thought I would have the visibility to be part of, or even, be part of, because I didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. So that was a big thing for me, and I hope everybody else that's in this year's cohort take advantage of that. Go on each other's shows, go on each other's TV shows and podcasts, and write articles till you're blue in the face. I can't say that enough.
Pia, thank you. It's so great to hear about your experiences and the opportunities that it's created for you. And I just wanted to really extend an invitation to our audience today that if you see yourself and your vision for the future is to be a speaker and to share your work in this way, as I said previously, every single year we have our Women Thrive Summit. This is going to be our 6th summit next year. So we're very excited, 2026. Every year we have 50 amazing speakers from all around the world, and you just get to see a very, very small selection of our speakers today on our showcase, and then later on in our second showcase. But we have women from all around the world, different backgrounds, different ages, different ethnicities, different cultures, different ages. I mean, I always say, like, last year our youngest speaker was 21, our oldest speaker was 81. It's just amazing. Women who are at different stages within their speaking career, different stages within their business. Some women that have just started their business, some women that are, you know, rocking their 7-figure, 8-figure businesses, all coming together in community and with one common goal to empower the voices of women, to take a stand for what they believe in, but also to absolutely connect with one another and be open to collaborations and networking with one another.
Yeah.
So we still have some spots available. I mean, we are definitely in the interview stage still for the Women Thrive Summit. We're nearly there. We nearly have all of our spots filled. We will be closing our doors very soon, in the next few weeks, actually. So if you're watching this and you're like, just thinking, oh my goodness, I want to do this, like, if you're feeling really drawn to do it, then I encourage you to apply. We take you through an application process. It could potentially lead to an interview with myself. So we're going to put the details on the screen where you can apply. And we really look forward to you applying and, you know, potentially being one of our speakers on the Women Thrive Summit.
If I can just add to that, Abby, it's really, you know, when I became 150, it was intimidating, and yet it was also super thrilling, right? Because you're like, wow, I know that you have upwards of 1,300 applications. So you're very selective. I know this, having been through the process. But I want to also highlight to people who are interested, to women who want to, you know, step up and apply, don't think that you're not good enough to do this. Yes, there were TEDx speakers as part of my 50, right? And that could be like a little bit, wow, she's been on TEDx. But then there were people that have never ever spoken publicly or shown up, you know, on TV or anything publicly on a stage or, you know, virtually. And that made it a nice mix to where the experience is just so genuine, and we all showed up for each other, no matter what your experience is, you know. And like Annette sitting there with her awards, okay, that's great. Like she said, that's great, good bookends, but, you know, you might have something to share, and you don't need to be TEDx caliber. This is what you're learning along the way. It's that journey of getting you to where you might. So if TEDx is your goal, great, you're definitely going to learn something, but it might not be. It wasn't necessarily mine. I just wanted to show up and say to people what I had from my heart. And there's definitely an opportunity to do that, no matter what your message is.
I love that, Pia. So good. Yeah, we can often talk very often we'll have, and I think anyone can relate to this in any room. You know, if you go into a mastermind, you go into a community, if you have committed to playing that bigger game and pushing yourself out your comfort zone, very often you can feel in a position where you're in a room and you're like, oh my goodness, like, I feel so intimidated. I don't feel good enough. Like, do I belong in here? Like, you start doubting yourself. And actually that's good, because it means that you're stretching. Like, we don't grow when we're in our comfort zone. We grow when we're in that you know, that zone where we're challenging ourselves. And I can bet my bottom dollar that every single person, you know, in the Women Thrive room, in any room that you go into, Women Thrive, at one point would have felt like that, you know, like, whoa, hang on, these women are amazing. But it's also to, you know, trust yourself that this is the process, this is the stretch, this is where we grow. And to always put ourselves in positions where we are being stretched, we're being grown, we're growing, we're doing things that we've never done before. And I just, you know, we were meant to have another speaker on our showcase today, and she's having technical problems at the moment trying to get in, and hopefully she'll be on the stage later on today, so you'll get to see her talk. And like, this is all part of the experience, right? This is what makes us amazing entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs are great problem solvers, right? So if you run a business, you own a business, you're running projects, like you get to problem solve every single day within your business, and there will always be curveballs that will be thrown. It's not necessarily the fact that these curveballs are being thrown, is how you deal with it, is how you manage it. And many of our speakers today have, spoken about mindset and how to approach things, how to reposition your way of thinking and your point of view. And it's one of the things that we alluded to at the top end of this call, Pia. One of the things that I just wanted to discuss, and I'd really love to invite you, actually, our audience, in to this conversation. I know you're not on the screen with us, but we can definitely see your comments. Okay, so we'd love to know your thoughts around this and your questions and your opinions. So let's start a conversation around this. What prompted the conversation that Pia and I wanted to have today is that if you're on our mailing list with Women Thrive, you would have seen that there was an email that was sent out by Ramonda Jan, the founder of Women Thrive, on Monday. And it was just talking about, sometimes in life, things might be happening in the world, like potentially they might be happening at the moment, that you feel are a little bit out of your control, that you're not comfortable with. It might be scary, it might be challenging, you might be feeling the stretch, and it might not necessarily be in the wider world. It might be in your business, as you're growing your business, these growing pains, like the feeling uncomfortable, not feeling good enough, not feeling like I'm trying to get onto the speaker showcase and I cannot get in, that feeling of panic, right? I can't log in. And actually it's about dealing with that and resolving it, and then coming through the other end, and you've learned something, right? And that makes you grow, and it gives you more confidence. So if you can't get into the speaker showcase in the morning, the next time you know how to get in, you're more confident. And within that email, Ramonda gave 4 really amazing points, and this is what Pia and I said that we'd love our discussion to be for the last part of the showcase. So her words of wisdom were, if things feel a little bit in turmoil at the moment, it's really important to focus on what is within your hands. So actually focus on the things that you can resolve. Like, I've got all the intention in the world in my business to, empower women, to help women to be more confident and be more iconic. Can I change every single woman in this world? No. So actually, what can I do? It's just one step at a time. I can do that with my clients. I can influence people on social media. I can come onto events like this and share what I do. I can speak. I can be a thought leader. So actually start to look at, what are the things that you can do? What are the ways that you can resolve things? Come back to the mission that drives you. And our speakers have been talking about this today. Annette was talking about, your mission, your vision, like going back to it. Louisa was talking about it as well. And, really looking at, what are my values? What is it that's driving me? What is my purpose? What is my why? Why am I doing this? Why do I want to speak? Why is it so important to me? What do I stand for? What do I stand against? Very important. The third point was to be in service of just one person. So if it feels like there's just too much to do, like this too much, like just focus on one person. How can I positively impact this one person today? It might be that you are on a coaching call with a client, or speaking on a stage like this, or it might be just something really, really simple, like going into a shop and giving that person a big, big smile. right? And thanking them and looking them in the eyes and being really authentic and going, thank you, and just making their day, something really simple like that. And then the fourth point was really to surround yourself with community. And, this is something, that our speakers were speaking about today, and has been brought up again and again. And Jennifer was certainly alluding to this as well, about community, how important community is, coming together in community and supporting ourselves at times where it can feel like turbulent, scary, out of our comfort zone. And I really wanted to find your opinions about this, Pia, because I know, like, in your work, these are things that you help your clients with day in, day out, and especially with the horse therapy as well.
Yeah. I mean, if I could just speak to one thing that I everything you said just goes right in, and I'm like, yep, got a client like that. Yep, got a client like that. It's amazing how clients show up, that are sort of, I don't know if it's an attraction of who you are yourself. I think it is, but you attract who you are. And so the ones of us who are helping others with, be it resilience or what you said, being a stand for, that's really interesting, because I just had 2 clients come to me who don't actually know where they fit in, and we're working on, well, what do they know, what are they an expert in, and what are they a stand for? And it's also something that I've gone through with my mentor coach for years, who has a program around that, that you need to find your niche, you need to find your community. Yes, you are a coach, you can coach everybody. Yes, you're a consultant, you can consult everybody. But there's that old saying, if you speak to everybody, nobody listens. So it's really important to find your niche, who you feel comfortable and safe with. And also tying that to your values, emotional agility, being able to handle what comes at you when your emotions arise. Because with everything that's going on right now, many of us might feel anger or sadness or grief, because there's something being lost in the world, right? Or something is, we have to let go of something, whether it's resentment or whatever it is. So there are all these emotions coming up, which means the more agile we are emotionally, the more we're going to be able to kind of get over these hurdles and deal with life in general. But this being a stand for something, that is really something that's deep within me, and I take that to my clients. I make them explore, who are they inside first, and who do they want to be with? Who do they want to speak to? So it's so important. Community is so important.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with one of our podcast guests about this. Was it one of our podcast guests, or maybe it was in one of the speaker interviews? Oh, I've spoken to so many people over the last few days, I can't remember. But so I'm reading a book at the moment, and in that book, it's kind of alluding to the fact that, society at the moment is, whether it's intentional or not intentional, and that's a different conversation to be had, there is a separation, there. And if you look at all the things that are in play, like social media, right? Like scrolling on our phones, like doom scrolling, working in silo, staying at home. I think a lot of this came from lockdown as well. This separation, like this, we at our core, we're tribe. We're tribal people, right? We have always functioned in this world as part of a community, as part of a tribe. And then we're suddenly thrown into this world only over a short period of years. If you think about how long we've been together, we've been on this earth as a species.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we're thrown into this world where we might not potentially have a community, we might not potentially have a tribe, a group of people that we can depend on, a group of people that we can come and communicate with, and we're working in silos. And everything is so fast, and technology is like crazy. I mean, AI, apparently people are saying like over the next few years it's going to be like the invention of the wheel. I mean, goodness knows what that's going to be like. But so it's important for us to really understand that even though there feels like separation in the world, people are obviously, everyone has a right to believe in what they believe in, and then move forward with love, even though that doesn't necessarily happen. But it's important to seek out and have these communities where you get that support, where you get that additional support, where we can come together. I feel, honestly, Pia, I feel such a calling to it. I really, really do. To the fact that I was just thinking the other day, I've been really, really contemplating on, what can I do within my business to be able to create communities? Because I used to have lots of communities, and then I didn't, and I'm kind of missing it. And I love being in other people's communities, but I also love creating communities myself. I feel like that is the biggest draw whenever I speak to anyone who is putting themselves forward to be a speaker on the Women Thrive stage. They always talk about the community.
Yeah. And I mean, you're just speaking to the core of everything. So obviously, you've mentioned before, I work a lot with horses and people, using the analogies and the horse wisdom and the teachings that a herd of horses and individual horses can teach us about life and work and balance and boundaries and emotions and everything. Really, there's such a true mirror to how we show up emotionally, physically, our body language, everything. And there's so much to be learned from that. And, when I experience what happens and what wants to show up when a human is connecting with a horse, and I see that connection happen in real, like, it's like dancing in the moment, because it really becomes very clear if you're closed off, if you're not aligned or congruent, that horse will not have anything to do with you, because why would it? You're not giving it the safety. You're not inviting the relationship into the present space and time. And just imagine that that's also how we then might show up to other humans. But we don't read each other's body language perhaps as good as a horse reads our body language. So we're not getting that instant feedback, and maybe we miss the signs sometimes. We can't read the room, right? So there's so much to be learned from nature and from animals, that they're connecting because they need to and they want to. And what does that connection and relationship look like? So I love that you're creating, I love that idea of you creating a community. If you can't find the community that you feel that you fit into, then start one. Start the conversation, and then start to build. More people will join.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know also keep your eyes peeled, because Women Thrive will be creating more communities as well. I know that is definitely going to be happening, early next year. In-person events, online communities, memberships. I love how you're talking about nature, because for me, if I'm feeling just like frazzled, overwhelmed in my head, the monkey brain chatter, the doubt, the fear, like all of that energy, all of those feelings that I know need to be felt, because I'm a human being, right? So this isn't about seeing your fuel gauge on empty and just sticking a band-aid, a plaster on it. This is about actually putting some petrol in it, putting some fuel in it. But if ever I'm feeling like that, I feel it, I want to feel it, but I always go to nature. And one of the things that I really like, So we moved, we made the executive decision, myself and my partner, after living in the beautiful British countryside for 5 years. We moved during lockdown. We escaped the big smoke, and we made the executive decision to come back to the city. So I've moved from the middle of a cow field in nature, and we now live beautiful place by the sea, but it's very much in the city. And I'm so glad that we did that. But one of the things that I really miss is in the garden. I was so attached to this tree, Pia. There was a big oak tree. Oh my goodness, why am I getting emotional? There was this big oak tree at the bottom of my garden. And we knew how old it was. It was about 80, 90 years old, because the man that had lived in the house before us had lived there for years and years and years. And he planted the oak tree at the bottom of the garden. And that was just like where I could find my solitude. I would go, I would hug the tree, I would connect with the tree, I would sit in the tree. I had a hammock from the branches, and I'd swing and, see the cows and all of that. And it's been difficult actually finding a connection with something like that living in the city. Now, I'm really, really, really lucky because I live by the sea. So what I can do is I literally just go over the road and I can sit on the beach and connect with the sea. But nature is so important, isn't it? And this slowing down that you're talking about, and Louisa was talking about this in her talk, about we can get so addicted to the busyness, work, busy, all these things to do. And actually, when we allow ourselves to slow down, we can pick up the signs, probably not quite like a horse, maybe not as in tune, but we can start to listen to our bodies. What is our body telling us? Do we need to rest? Do we need to go and sit in a tree? Do we have people fatigue? Do we need to, move away from people for a little while? Or do we need to come and gather in community and share?
Yeah, I think that's the balance that we all yearn for, the ability to, and oddly enough, my husband tells me all the time, you need to say yes to more things. But I am very happy in my own space with a book, or a podcast, or just fiddling around the house, or being with my animals. But he's right. I need to also be with people. So I've made the conscious choice to say yes to everything that people invite me to. So on Sunday, I'm actually going to harvest olives, because in southern Spain, it's all olives. And some of my dear friends from South Africa bought a finca here, a farm in the hills, and they're going to harvest the olives that they have on their land. And so putting a big hat on for the sun, my big water jug, and we're going to go shake trees and branches and get the olives down and collect them for the press. They're going to go to the mill to be pressed for what I hope I can, get at least just one bottle of virgin olive oil. But again, that's the connection with nature, connecting with the fruit of what is being, shared and giving us that peace, but doing it with some other people, right? Doing it with my friends, so that there is that human connection and safety to share what's going on in your life. What are you experiencing lately? Because we need to have an outlet. It's a very difficult world right now to be able to speak up, and we all have a story, and it's so important to be heard. But there's also danger in some of the things that we want to speak up about, right? And so we're having to censor ourselves, which that get hair up, right? I do not like to have to censor myself, but we have to just be logical about it and rational about it, even though we feel that, desire to speak up and share our stories and our pain. We are not always in communities where we can do that. Luckily, there are communities out there that are at least safer to write and speak in. But yeah, it's an unprecedented time right now with what's going on, and you just have to be alert. But nature, definitely. I love how you said you hugged the tree. We are connected through roots, through the ground, and you being close to the water resonates with me. I'm literally an 8-minute walk from the beach, and I'm Cancer, so I'm a water sign. I need to put my feet into that Mediterranean Ocean every day. When I my dog, it's like I'm soaking up the water through my feet, you know? It nourishes me.
Yeah. And we can learn from nature. I remember I was going through such a really, really difficult time in my business a few years ago. I don't know what happened. You know, sometimes these things can happen. A lot of my clients had kind of come to a natural end of their time with me. Naturally, it was, you know, there's no point kind of carrying something on just for the sake of it. So it was all beautiful and organic and with love, but no one was coming in, right, to replace them. And I was going through a really, really difficult time with menopause. So you were talking about you're now in your beautiful level. Is it level 60? Level
62.
Level
62.
62.
I just turned 62 this summer, and I'm like, it's like, I don't understand how I got here. When my mom was 62, I was like, oh my God, she's nearly in the grave. And now here I am, you know, active and thank God, healthy. But yeah, like also can I say the S word? I don't give a shit anymore about what people think about me.
Yeah.
That's on them.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you've got to level 62 and you're going and collecting olives in your friend's fika at the weekend. Well, I'm level 51 and I think I'm just about through menopause now. I don't know, it might throw me a bit of a curveball. But I had a really quite a bad time with it actually, and I'm so grateful for all the tools that I have, you know, Kundalini yoga, EFT, like the way that I've been coached and mentored by so many amazing people through my life. I was able to apply all of those tools to be able to go through it. But it impacted my business. And one of the things that really helped me was this realization that this connection with nature, and when you look to nature, right? Because there's no scarcity in nature. It's pretty incredible, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we lived in the countryside. There were lots of birds in our garden. The birds weren't worrying and bothering about where the berries were going to come or, you know, where they'd get water. They were just like chirping away and carrying on with their lives. You know, the trees were falling in the autumn, and then come May, April, May, there'd be this beautiful like spring awakening, and all the daffodils and the tulips would come up in our garden. And it really, really gave me hope, because I was like, I just need to trust that I have the resource and the resilience inside of myself to take care of myself. Everything's always been okay. You know, I left home when I was 16 and was homeless because I left a religious cult, and I just left all of my friends and family behind. And I'm like, I did that and I survived, you know.
Yeah.
I left corporate and I survived. I was living in Fuerteventura in the Canary Islands and was living on cheese and ham toasties for 2 months because I couldn't even afford to like feed myself properly. And it was good. Like everything's good. I always bounce back. And when you can remind yourself at that and just look at the seasons and remember, this is not permanent. Nothing's permanent. This is just a season. Yeah. This is not the way that the world is going to be forever. This is not the way that your life is going to be forever. So whether you are looking at the world at the moment and just seeing like the dark days ahead of you and you're really being impacted by that, please don't watch the news.
Yes, stay off social media and news.
Yeah, on social media. Or whether you are feeling that in your business, whether you're like I was a few years ago, like all of my clients gone, all of my income dried up. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Like whether you're feeling like that, remember it's a season. This too shall pass.
Yeah.
You trust in yourself. You trust in whatever your belief system is. you know, whether it's the universe, whether it's source, whether it's God, whatever you decide to call that beautiful energy, you trust. And just like nature, spring is going to come, the tulips are going to come out, the daffodils are going to come out.
Yeah.
And it's easier when you are surrounded by community.
Yeah. I mean, we have where I live in southern Spain, it's very hot and it gets very dry. And of course, we have a lot of wildfires, just like California and other areas of the world are experiencing. Some, you know, happen just by nature, but some are started with some stupid idiot throwing a cigarette butt. No matter what, it burns, they put it out, and it looks horrible and, you know, blackened and soot. But you know what? I walk out in the campo and things are coming up. Little teeny green things are coming up. It will regenerate. It will come back. So no matter how scorched it is, there's always room for a little teeny green plant to come up and just, you know, spring into life. So you're right. It will pass and we will survive it and we will go on. Yeah, absolutely.
One of the things that Ramonda mentioned in her email that she sent out on Monday was about really coming back to the mission that drives you. And I think that's a really important thing as well, you know, to have this faith, to have this hope, to have this trust, to surround yourself with community, but to really focus on your mission. Okay. This is one thing. So I live with a very wise man. And I love to quote this because one thing that he always says is, if you go into the garden and you look for slugs, you will find slugs, right? The slugs will be there.
Yeah.
So if you go into the garden and you're not focused on the slugs, you'll see the other things. You'll see the flowers. You'll see the, you know, the butterflies. You'll see the bees. You'll start to, you know, feel all the different senses when you're in the garden. Again, obviously coming back to nature. So you can choose to look for slugs, and it doesn't even matter, you know, as we're recording this, things are going on in the world that we all know is happening. We could be having this conversation 20 years ago, 50 years ago. We can be having this conversation 20 years in the future. There's always going to be things that we don't necessarily believe in, agree with, they don't align to our values. But if you are looking for slugs, you're going to find it. You know, like people that I know during lockdown that just literally like had the news on like 24/7. And that's all they could talk about. You know, all they could talk about was just the scarcity and the fear and all of that, instead of actually looking at the opportunities. You know, I launched Women Thrive launched their online summit during that time. I mean, this was you're talking about regeneration. This is a beautiful time for regeneration as well. So also focusing on your vision, stay in your lane. Okay, don't worry about like too much, you know, keep an eye on it. But actually, what do you want to happen? What's the change that you want to see? What are you standing for? What are your values? Who are your people? Speak to them, support them, be in service to others.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I think this is another old saying. I don't know, one of my mentors said it, but I think somebody said it before her. What you pay attention to grows. So are you going to pay attention to positive, you know, your mission, your vision, or are you going to pay attention to all the negative crap that's out there? Because lots of slugs and they are there, you know? So Ramonda's right. Stay in your lane, focus on your mission and vision, pay attention to what you want to grow, and then grow it.
What's your daily practice, Pia? Like, how do you set yourself up for the day, you know, in terms of, because I mean, we're all humans and we're going to have our ups and downs, but for me, I always look at you and think that is a positive person. That's someone.
I got my shit together, girl.
No shit together. We're all good.
Oh, I wish. I of course, I'm only human. I also fall into the, oh my God, did you hear this or did you see that? But I'll tell you what I've just started about 2 weeks ago. I started with a writer who is writing poems around 40 Days to a Miracle. And it's a book by Melody Betty. I think I'm pronouncing it right. She has passed away, sadly, but this is about waking up every morning. And I have a gratefulness part. So again, one of the South Africans that moved from Dubai to Spain, we've reconnected. And I said, would you be my gratefulness partner? And she said, yes. So we are doing the 40 Days to a Miracle. And every day we share emails to each other and say, today I'm grateful for, or today I'm grateful that. And we list 4 or 5 things. And Melody Betty in her book says, don't be grateful for all the positive, good stuff. Also be grateful for something you resent. You know, be grateful for your snoring husband, because at least he's alive. You know, you hear him snore, he's alive. I mean, and you know what? It works. And she says, you might not see a miracle within a day or weeks, or maybe not even in the 40 days, but don't be shy of asking for miracles. Don't be shy of asking for winning the lottery. It's not selfish. You're not going to be struck down because you're asking for things that you tell yourself you don't deserve. Oh my God, look at the life I have. Do I deserve or need to win the lottery? I'm sure there's people out there that need it more than me. No, don't think like that. Ask for it. So I'm asking for it. I bought the tickets. I never win, but that's okay. I'm grateful for the fact that I can take the €2 and go buy my Euro jackpot ticket. You know what I mean? So I'm doing that for I've got another 30 days to go for this 40 Days to a Miracle. But I'm already starting to see little signs, little things that are coming into my life that I'm like, is this a coincidence? I don't think so. So that's my practice at the moment. And tonight I'm going to, with some other friends, there's going to be 6 of us. We're going to a sound bowl therapy Reiki event tonight at 7 o'clock. So it'd be like an hour of just immersing ourselves on mats into this beautiful singing bowls and crystal sound bowl therapy. Yeah.
I love that so much. Like sound bowl therapy, flotation tanks, like, oh my goodness, it's so amazing.
I know. Good. Nothing wrong with taking care of yourself.
Absolutely. We've got a place here where you actually go and lie in a hammock. It's like a little cocoon, and it's just so amazing. I love it so much. I really resonate with the gratitude. So every morning I will either have a conversation with myself or my partner, and we'll list all the things that we're grateful for. It's really important to focus on that, because you can, what is it? Misery loves company. Like, yes, it's very, I have to be really mindful living with someone, actually, that we don't spiral into this, oh my goodness, have you seen what's happening? And, kind of like start the whole like blame game and moaning, instead of actually focusing on what we're actually grateful for.
Yeah.
I love to chant, as you probably know. I love Kundalini yoga. So Kundalini is part of my daily practice. I just love it so much. And I also love the Buddhist practice of chanting. So Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. I chant that every single morning. And we were actually doing it with the women that attended the Women Thrive retreat in June in Valencia. It was just so beautiful. Like, we were in such a beautiful villa, and we'd meet like at 8 o'clock in the morning and chant together. And it was just so special. And also, like, I feel like really for me to make a decision, like, who do I choose to be today? Do I choose to be like, bitter and resentful and angry, or do I choose to go out into the world and not look for the slugs, to see the beauty in things? And when I make that conscious decision, incredible things happen. And the reason that it's happening is that I'm showing up in that way. So people respond to that. People respond to that higher vibrational frequency. We've all been in these places where you're angry, like something's really like pissed you off, and you go out and then you attract that in, right? So more things happen, like you attract the angry people, you attract road rage. It's something, or, you're walking down the road and there's muck on the road or whatever, like, dog mess or whatever. But actually, I always find that when I can really authentically be like, you know what, I choose to be happy today, my conversations are different. The way that people react to me are different. And when I go out and about in my business, like, you know, presenting something like this for Women Thrive, or if I'm with my clients or I'm doing a YouTube video, the frequency of that resonates.
Yeah.
In my email, everything that I do.
Absolutely. I mean, I obviously go and see my horse as much as I can during the week, and on weekends I ride her. She will know if I don't show up, you know, connected. It's not about negative or positive, because, you know, that's not what they read. But if I'm not aligned, if I'm not congruent, if I show up and go, oh, hi, little horsey, but inside of me, I've got anger brewing or sadness, she'll suss it out, you know, so I can immediately see if she wants to connect and go out, if it's going to be a nice ride, or I just don't ride. If I somehow can't get out of a rut, I don't get on her, because it's not worth it to have to fight what she's picking off of me. You know, if I'm anxious, she'll be anxious, and she'll be afraid of an ant, you know, or a leaf, or a little, I don't know, flower. You know, she'll see lions and tigers and bears everywhere we go. So I know, I just say no that day. I just go, okay, you know what? Let's just not go. I'll just groom you. We'll just have a conversation through the grooming, because, you know, why bother? It's not the right frame of mind. So you'll see that feedback, and I'm sure people will feel that too. Like you said, if you're showing up however you show up, it feeds. It's like the emotional contagion. So what do you want to send out there is very tied to what do you want to come back to you?
Yeah. I'm anyone that knows me will know that I'm a big fan of naps. And I don't mean like going to bed for hours, like 10 minutes, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like 10 minutes, close my eyes, fall, you know, nap, and then wake up. And sometimes, you know, I just think, you know what? It's like, I'm not going to ride the horse. My version of I'm not going to ride the horse is, you know what? I'm just going to take a nap. Yeah. And then I just get asleep, and then I wake up and I drink a big thing of water, bounce up and down 50 times, and then I'm good.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love naps as well. And I feel like now that I'm in my 60s, they're probably more frequent. But again, I give myself permission to lie down and rest and re-energize and feed my mental, refuel my mental state and my physical state and my spiritual state and all of that. I mean, you can't run on empty. So
no. We'd love to know in the comments what your go-to resources are. How do you set yourself up in the morning? Like, what do you like to do? What makes you feel good? Like, what are your go-to strategies and practices? You know, Pia was talking there about gratitude and, you know, sound healing. You know, yoga doesn't have to be Kundalini, any kind of yoga, chanting. We'd love to know. Get involved in the conversation, whether you're watching this live. I know that many of you will be watching on the replay as well, so let us know. Pia, we're coming to the end of our time.
That just went so fast.
It's just been such a pleasure to hang out. I'm so glad that you're saying yes to everything, because you said yes to coming on.
Yes. Ask me again. I'll come back on.
We're so grateful. We're so grateful to have you in our community, to have your wonderful wisdom, and just to really catch up. You know, it's important that even though you're not in that whole process of, you know, working towards the 2026 summit, one thing that we always say is that once you're in the Women Thrive community, you never leave. And I don't mean that in a weird, like, kidnap kind of scenario.
No, I know, not Hotel California. But I get it. And I love that it's there when you need it, right? You don't have to go into everything. You don't have to be on every week. You don't have to watch everything or comment on everything. But just knowing it's there, available for you, and you can reach out. I love that.
Yeah. Pia, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me on. I loved it.
Thank you everyone for watching. We've loved seeing your comments. Keep the chat going, keep sharing. we are going to be coming back this evening. So it's going to be 7 p.m. UK time, which is 2 p.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time. We are going to be going live again with some more fabulous speakers. And this time, the majority of those speakers are actually based in the States, Canada. We might have some speakers there from Europe as well, but we'd love to have you on. We are going to be welcoming a different co-host this evening. My normal co-host, the fabulous Ramonda Jan, who is the founder and CEO of Women Thrive. And I think this is going to be her last showcase before she gives birth my goodness, it's going to be next week. It's crazy how quickly that's gone. But we are looking forward to welcoming you. Thank you so much for your love, for your support, for your comments. Thank you so much for our fabulous, fabulous speakers. It's just been so wonderful to have you on. Thank you for the conversation, Pia. Let's keep this conversation going. Okay, let's keep this conversation going. It's really important to support one another at any time, regardless of what's happening. Lots of love to all of you, and we will see you very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.